Hey everyone, you're listening to the Active Turnkey podcast, a podcast designed for hands-off, passive real estate rental investors. In the Active Turnkey podcast, you'll hear Tom Olson and Jared Stormeister discuss all things turnkey rentals with other turnkey providers, service providers, and rental investors. Our goal is to help you reach your financial freedom and whatever comes after that. Let's go. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Active Turnkey podcast. I'm your host, Jared Stormeister, and I have with us today not Tom Olson or the Tom Olson. He's not with us. And I don't have Zach Olson. For those of you who watched some of the previous episodes, Zach was on there. And so we don't have Zach, we don't have Tom. We actually have Brian. So we have Brian Stormeister. And so Tom brought his son on, and I thought it would be great to have my son on. It's a family affair, apparently. Yeah. But welcome, Brian.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Yeah, he's been asking forever to be on the podcast.
I've been begging. Dad, can I be on the podcast?
He's been pleading. And up to this point, I've said no, but I felt like this was the right time. And so Brian just turned 19 a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
19, the big 19. His last year as a teenager.
1 year away.
And so that's exciting stuff. It's always cool. Yeah. And so I think having Brian on today, so Brian's an employee, we'll get into that. And Brian is a recent graduate, we'll talk about that. And also get into some investing stuff. And so that'll be applicable, especially with what's going on right now. So for those of you who are new to the Active Turnkey podcast, or even wondering, where does the name Active Turnkey come from? Well, Active Turnkey is basically Tom's coin. He coined it, the program we do, Active Turnkey, after BRRRR. So you're familiar with the BRRRR method. And that's when you buy, rehab, rent, refinance, and repeat. So see, he's good. He's getting it. And so Active Turnkey is how we do it. And it, more or less, Tom named it that way because of we sell a turnkey product that's done for you, mailbox money. Typically speaking, when you buy a turnkey property from Olson Group, it is a property that is that has a tenant in place at time of closing. Well, Active Turnkey does not. Active Turnkey or BRRRR, when you typically buy wholesale. You're buying out the MLS from a wholesaler, and there needs to be a rehab done. It's part of the part. BRRRR, right? Part of the and so it's the first step after you purchase. And so in that case, there's some more activity. You're going to be involved. You get some say-so in the scope of work, and so on. And but that is what Active Turnkey is. And so we are going to talk a little bit about that. And but Active Turnkey is back. And I know we even entitled a podcast several months ago about that, but since then we've sold several Active Turnkeys, and we're getting a lot more action from interested buyers, and we're also getting a lot more options, a lot more opportunities for the Active Turnkey deals. And so if you're interested, if you've done turnkey and you get it, you like mailbox money, that's great, but we do believe that Active Turnkey is the best way to buy. And if that sounds interesting to you, if you like BRRRR and you like being able to use your money once, refinance, get as much as you possibly can get, maybe even all of it back if we do a great job, and then redeploy and do compound interest. If you like that, then this is an opportunity you guys might want. You can reach out to us. You can reach out to us. We'll get some more information. Also, we are transitioning over to a new name. So Tom mentioned it in a podcast. So we are going to be called the One Group Network. We're even going to get new banners. So not yet. In fact, I talked to some of our marketing department. They're going to order them today. And so you're going to see new banners. Our brand will stay the same, but it will be One Group Network. And so that's really exciting. I know you guys are all really pumped up about it. Get all kinds of new merch, right? All kinds of new merch. But without further ado, it's not the Jared Stormeister episode. This is the Brian Stormeister episode. Again, he just turned 19. So Brian, 2022, tell me about some things that happened for you in 2022.
2022. It was a good year, senior year. I had a girlfriend in high school, so that was pretty awesome. Mm-hmm. Basketball. Mm-hmm. My dream going through our school was to one day play on the high school basketball team, the varsity, and then win the championship, our home championship. And we won it. I was the sharpshooter. Money just never misses.
Okay, never missed is a little exaggeration.
Okay, I was probably 40%.
You wouldn't be sitting in this room right now if you never missed. Just saying. Okay.
That's true. I had a really good point guard. Shout out to Joey Cowling. He'd always get me wide open. in the corner to splash threes, but
Splash the threes.
yeah. So that was fun. That was a really good experience.
It was cool. So as a dad, we went to the same school. Our kids, I went to school growing up. My parents went to school. It's a private Christian school, and I played basketball. And so Brian grew up listening to the stories of in my legend at Hammond Baptist, and so then Brian got to play, and it was really cool as a dad to watch him play. And I was not an outside shooter. I played in the post a little bit, but he got to. He was definitely a sharp shooter for sure. So it was really cool to see him win his last game with the tournament at home. That's good.
Yeah,
what else?
That was a lot of fun. We had a senior trip. It was a missions trip to Belize.
Oh wow.
So Central America. It was a lot of fun. We there was 4 guys. No, there was 5 guys in our hotel room. And so funny story. The guy who ran the hotel, he was a Chinese guy. He would always turn off the AC.
So why did that matter? Why did it matter?
So in Belize, it was 105 degrees every day. When we got back, we're like so tired. We're in the heat all day. We were like passing out stuff from the church there, doing some activity fun. When we get back, it's so hot. And then there's 5 guys in one hotel room. We're like, what in the world, dude?
Yeah. So then you guys figured out. You thought you guys had him, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So we thought he would just like. The outlet was timed or something, so we like got an extension cord and put it to the bathroom. But it turns out he'd walk in the room and then unplug it. So yeah, that was a little.
Yeah, that was interesting. So 105-degree temperatures, and I'm guessing.
It was fun.
But it was a fun trip. Yeah,
it
so
was
you
a lot of fun. Good experience.
You held a tarantula.
Yes, it wasn't in a zoo or anything. It had its fangs. It was a male, but apparently the males don't bite or have venom. So I was perfectly safe.
Okay. All right. You were swimming with the sharks.
Swimming with sharks and stingrays. They were huge. They were like 6 feet. They were pretty. It was pretty.
Did you touch them?
Yeah. No, they would like go at you and then just run into your legs.
I'm learning about Brian's senior trip for the first time. This is good.
Yeah. So that was a little terrifying at first. You just see a bunch of swarms, a huge swarm. There's probably 50 sharks and stingrays. It was pretty scary at first, but
that's cool.
It was fun.
Yeah. And so okay. So what else?
I graduated.
That's
I don't know how.
It's true. I'm with him.
I had some helps from some friends.
Some money. Paid off some people. Okay.
Yeah, I took my broker's course actually for the state of Indiana. I just need to pass the test now. So.
Yeah, that's good. That's a big to do for him. So yes, okay. So you're jumping right into work. So graduate from high school. The natural step for young people who I think you're a smart guy is to go to college. And but you decided not to go that route. You decided to go into real estate. So why in the world did you choose to go to real estate over in college?
Well, college is just a money game for the colleges.
Wow.
So it's just a trap.
Wow.
But I didn't want to
like a 19-year-old.
I mean, the real reason is like I even asked Tom. I asked you. Mm-hmm. Everyone would like Tom said you can learn just as much doing the job as you can in college. Part of it was I didn't want to pay the money. I didn't want to work a job and then end up paying the money and then getting a degree. And then part of it was, I worked here multiple summers, probably 5 summers. And then I hear about all these investors, engineers, dentists, lawyers. So there's all these engineers. They go to college and are like, I don't want to do this anymore. And then they get out of their profession, which they worked 4 to 8 years for in college, and they just wasted their time. They said, or maybe not wasted, but they're like, I'm going to go into real estate. So I thought, why not just start right there? So
yeah, that's true. I mean, in many cases, in my experience working with clients, a lot of who we've worked with have been dentists, doctors, attorneys, engineers. It seems like more engineers than anybody seem like they want to get out of it and they want to get into real estate. But now some of them love what they do. Some of the professionals, they love being a doctor, they love being a dentist, they love being attorneys and so on. And they understand that is the way that they're going to build their portfolio. So they're going to work their W-2 job and do a great job and serve their community, and many of them have decided that they want to go in different directions, sell their practices and so on, and get into other things, and a lot of them are investing in real estate. So that is true, and some of them have done a pretty good job doing it. And so Brian did that. He decided to come, and I tried not to press him too hard. I was certainly concerned. I wanted to make sure he was making the right choice, but he decided to go into real estate. And so we hired Brian on the week after graduation. I think we had a vacation. We went on vacation, and then the week after vacation, Brian started with our acquisitions team. Yeah. So you, as you mentioned, you took your broker's course, and so you're also going to be taking your license here. What, next week? License test. I mean, test your license
next week.
But throughout this whole time, you've been working with our acquisitions team. So what does that look like when you're looking for deals? Like, what does that process look like for you?
So mainly I do on market. So I do MLS, auctions, and then recently HUD. Mm-hmm. So normally in the morning I'll go in and I'll check the MLS, see what's on there, find deals, and if I find one, normally I get every new deal that's a lead that's a good deal. You know, it's in Gary, Lake Station, in the good areas where we might do turnkey or active turnkey, and then I'll put them in a spreadsheet with our formulas. I'll run the ARV, find the repairs, an estimate of the repair numbers, and then I'll find the taxes and then estimate on the rent. And then I'll run the numbers. If it looks like it's a good deal, I'll send it to the team, and then if it's a good deal, we'll put in an offer on it.
Now, also, Brian's not an agent yet, and so he does work with Becky at this point. Becky Olson, Tom's wife, is a broker and has her own brokerage here at this office. And so Brian will often, most of the properties that we're bidding on, Brian's been inside and checked out. So how many properties have you acquired through this process doing this, what you're talking about right now?
21
houses. Okay, since May. Now that's pretty good, and that's through one channel. So you haven't done. I know Brian's getting into some auctions and some like sheriff sale type stuff, but at this point, that's 21 properties just in the MLS. And we do have another employee who works full time in not full time anymore, but he works with us with wholesalers and FSBO and so on. And so Brian primarily works with this, and he's looking to add a few more channels to that. But so 21 deals. So that means you looked at 21 houses and you just got every single one of them, right?
Yep.
That's what it was. That's
21.
It. So imagine if you looked at more. Imagine what would have happened if you looked at more deals. So just of course tongue in cheek there. So how many houses have you been in? So you got 21 deals. How many have you been in the last 7 months? 8 months?
More than 100.
More than 100?
Probably.
Oh, probably more than that.
Maybe 200.
Yeah.
Probably more.
Okay. So 200 deals. Okay. And how many have you vetted, just roughly?
At least twice that.
Okay.
Probably, I don't want to say 1,000, but probably 1,000.
Okay, that makes sense.
Maybe more.
Yeah.
It's probably even more if you count sheriff sale and
So this is going through the process. You're going through those initial stages and then finding out if the deal. Okay, cool. So 1,000 properties, and so and that's one part of the Olson Group team doing that. And of course, once he gets his license, that'll give him a lot more freedom to go into properties
and a lot more.
And so he's chomping the bit. He's pushing our team to try to get more deals, and so that's really exciting there. And so let's jump into investing now. So. Tell me a little bit about your investing experience.
Well, I mean, being a partner with you, other than that, it's been pretty good. I have 3 units as of now. I have a single family home and then also a duplex, a side by side. The single family is currently under construction right now. It's in rehab. I've been working with the contractor, getting the materials ordered and to the property delivered there. And then I did demo. I tore out the entire kitchen, bathroom, demoed the basement, and then cleaned all that up. And then let the contractors get in there.
So a little sweat equity there for Brian, and with the demo side, and he hired a couple of his buddies that he graduated with, and they came in and worked in there. And so Brian and I are partnering together, and we're doing a couple bird deals. So you have 3 units, and we'll get to that. But you've also had some experience in lending a little bit. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, the company has a lending program. You can lend $1,000, and then after that, 500 increments. And it's 9% interest, which is pretty good. I mean, I'm like,
So for employees,
my
it's
money's
phenomenal.
just sitting there. I might as well lend some and get some.
And so how long ago did you start doing that?
This was like 3 years ago.
3 or 4 years ago. So as a freshman in high school, Brian had the opportunity as an employee. He saved his money in the summer, and he worked probably a lot of hours to get to that $1,000. And
I don't know where all that money went, honestly, from high school. I worked 4 years in the summers, and it's
life. It's true. That's life. That's how it works. Yeah. And it goes quickly, and sometimes you know exactly where it's going, and sometimes you don't if you don't keep track. But Brian did invest with a company. You get a couple $1,000s or something like that in the company, and he's been getting interest checks from the company, and so learning all the while how money works. And that's probably one of the reasons that whet your appetite into real estate and investing. And so Brian's right. So over the last couple, probably 6 months, Brian and I have partnered on a couple deals. He mentioned a single family. We're about 75% of the way done with the project. Hoping to be done with the thing in the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
And really exciting first deal. And I think we got a good one. And then we bought a duplex, and we just got the tenants out, so we'll have it the good timing there. In fact, the last tenants leaving here in a week or so. As soon as the project's done in the other house, we're looking to hop onto the duplex. So really exciting. So what's your perspective so far with Burr? I mean, so we're doing it now. What's your perspective?
It's crazy when you think about it.
Okay, what's crazy about it?
I don't know. I was just talking to my friend about it. He's like, dude, that can't work. You can't. I was like, dude, it's a free house if you think about it. Like, if you have a lender, I mean, and you get a good deal and you refinance, I mean, if everything works out, you can be in there with no money in the game.
So Brian said something really interesting that, and so there's multiple ways you can do Burr. First of all, I'll tell you, anyone can do it. Anyone can do Burr. And so you don't have to be a real estate company. You don't need Olson Group or one group to do active turnkey for you. There's some value there. In fact, I've been telling people recently that if you go and you just go to the MLS, or you go connect with a wholesaler or a for sale by owner, in the end, that seller really doesn't care what you're doing with the property. Their ultimate goal is to make as much money as they possibly can make in the transaction, and understandably so. Likewise, the contractor. So after you purchase a property, they really don't care what you paid for it.
Yeah.
They don't care what you paid for it. All that they're concerned about, understandably so, is they want to make sure they're compensated appropriately for a rehab. And so, interestingly enough, though, Olson Group, when we offer the whole deal. So I like to say that, instead of selling you a house or doing a rehab for you, we are selling you an entire deal. And so the value is there are certain situations where we may make less as opposed to a seller or a contractor in order for the deal to make sense. Now, Brian did bring up something really interesting a second ago, and that is that we have a private lender. And so, typically speaking, we like to recommend that you have around $100,000 liquid in order to acquire a Burr deal. Allows you to acquire the property, have enough money for a rehab, and probably have a little bit extra cash in case an extra pops up. Now, in this case, we didn't use that. I had a private lender, and so I actually have to I try to include in my overall budget, the purchase and repairs, and then the lender's fund. So I know I got to pay him back. So if there's a way I can include all that in there, because our goal after we refinance is to be in the deal $0. Yeah. And of course the dream scenario is that you walk away with money. That's not normal. That's not typical. If you can walk away with $0 into the deal, that's great. For Olson Group, we try to get you around 80% LTV. We're right between 80 and 85%. We used to be at 70 to 75% LTV, which is insane. But now the goal is to get you right between 80 and 82.5%. Where that's where the deal still makes sense. And so yeah, he's been talking to a friend. It doesn't make sense to him, and it doesn't make sense to a lot of people. There's a lot of moving parts. And so, in this case, Brian is partnered with me, and my dad and I, we've done probably, we have 19 units so far, and most of those have been through Burr, and with having a private lender. And so, obviously it can be done, but when you're working with somebody, the value Olson Group brings, or one group brings, is that we can assist you doing it, especially if you are a professional that you don't have a ton of time. Like Brian has. Brian just apparently has all kinds of time. and so far, Brian mentioned he's got 3 units. He's got a single family and a duplex. So what's your goal, Brian, for 2023?
2023 is to have 10 units.
To have acquired 10. Now you want to acquire 10 this year, or 10 be up to 10?
A total of 10.
Soon to be up to 10. Okay, so we'll have up to 10 units. and that's really exciting. It's a big goal. Now I will say, in previous years, many of you investors know that acquiring properties has been the problem. That has been the issue. Competition. There's been so many people out there, so many different scenarios, and inventory is a problem. Today, it's not. There's a great opportunity for that, and so while Brian has been beating my door down for deals. Sure. In his acquisition job, he's also able to see, hey, this deal could work for us too, and so I work carefully with our team to make sure that we're not crossing any conflict lines. So Brian, 10 deals by the end of the year, and that's not rehabbed, right? That's just acquired. So Brian was very specific about that, and that could be just single family or
no, anything.
Could be multi-units too.
I want a fourplex.
He wants a fourplex.
That would be.
There you have it. Cool. And Brian has even expressed interest in house hacking at some point.
That's the goal.
That's the goal.
Unit,
and so that's pretty cool to do that. Now, lastly, you talked about your yearly goal. What's your 3 to 5 year plan? What does that look like?
My 3-year goal is to have 50 units.
3 years, 50 units. Okay.
That's the goal.
There you have it, guys. And like I said, in 3 years, he's going to be doing... he's going to be having my job. I'm going to be sitting in that seat, and I'm going to be asking him questions. And so what have you learned overall from Active Turnkey? What are some things you can share just from your experience with the Active Turnkey and property so far?
Well, I think it's definitely better than Turnkey.
Okay.
If you're willing to go through the process of the rehab, if you're willing to do that, I think it's better because you have the refinance piece generally. I think they're definitely harder to acquire, that's for sure. Active Turnkey is definitely harder to acquire because you have to get it almost at a wholesale number. But yeah.
No, that's really cool, and I definitely appreciate his perspective. And again, we haven't even completed our first deal together yet, and so the refinance part is going to be a whole other layer that's going to be interesting. And so while Brian is familiar with acquisitions and with construction now, even doing construction with the company for a year or two. Now he's going to be jumping into the world of finance, and that's going to be really exciting. And most of the people who have done deals are actually in pain when they hear that part of it. But no, that's excellent stuff. And again, Active Turnkey is not for everybody. Turnkey does work, and I like to even say that if you're looking to get into real estate, Turnkey is a great option because you're not deploying $100,000, and if you're trying to connect with a provider like Olson Group or One Group, and you're trying to find out, is this somebody I want to work with? Instead of deploying $100,000, maybe the $25,000 to $30,000 that you need for that cost is a good time to feel out the relationship, to learn about the property management side of the company, and if you want to have a long-term relationship with those people. But Burr or Active Turnkey, you got to dive right in and make those relationships, and there's a lot of moving parts, and there's certainly more risk. And so, but the reward is, like you said, the reward is the benefit that comes with it. And if you do things right, then you can be into a deal, $0, and you're left with money again to redeploy. Or if you have a lender who's very happy, he got his money back, and typically when lenders get money back, what do they want to do?
Relend
They want to redeploy. Yeah, they want to send it back, especially if you perform. That's right. They want to give it back to you, and as you do it. So if you're somebody out there, and you'd be surprised how many of you know somebody who has cash and they are looking to deploy it, and so that is an option that we can work with, and it's just one more number you can add into your performance as you're generating those numbers. And so just in recapping the podcast. First of all, thank you for joining us, Brian, and maybe we can give you guys an update down the road as things goes, and you can follow Brian's journey as a teen doing Burr. But again, if you're interested in learning more about Active Turnkey, you can actually go to Amazon. Tom has a book called The Active Turnkey: The Best Way to Buy Rentals, and you can follow through that process. And you can also go to our website. You can get onto our list. And you can have a call with me. And if you're interested in coming, some of you still don't know too much about Gary. And my recommendation has always been, don't take my word for it. between my partner with my dad and then now with Brian, our last 16 plus units have all been from Gary. But don't take my word for it. Come in, see it in person. I'll host you personally. I'll take you out throughout the area, and you can find out more about what it is that we do here. And you'll learn, first of all, are we who we claim to be? And you'll find out, are the rehabs as we describe them? And lastly, what is Gary? What is this like? Am I going to walk into a war zone? Or typically what people, when they walk away, they're like, it's not so bad. It's actually not as bad as I thought it was. And you also get a chance to see the impact you're having in the community. So if that's something you're interested in, you can reach out to me as well. And we can coordinate a time where we can get you in here. You can fly in, depending on where you're located. And I'll host you. You get to meet the team and so on. So all that being said, Brian, again, thanks for coming and joining us in the Active Turnkey podcast. Okay. And Active Turnkey, the best way to buy rentals. Thanks, everybody.
Olson Group Network makes no warranty, guarantee, or representation as to the accuracy or sufficiency of the information featured in this podcast. The information, opinions, and recommendations presented in this podcast are for general information only, and any reliance on the information provided in this podcast is done at your own risk. This podcast should not be considered professional advice. Unless specifically stated otherwise, Olson Group Network does not endorse, approve, recommend, or certify any information, product, process, service, or organization presented or mentioned in this podcast, and information from this podcast should not be referenced in any way to imply such approval or endorsement. Any third-party materials or content of any third-party site referenced in this podcast do not necessarily reflect the opinions, standards, or policies of Olson Group Network. Olson Group Network assumes no responsibility or liability for the accuracy or completeness of the content contained in third-party materials or on third-party sites referenced in this podcast or the compliance with the applicable laws of such materials and/or links referenced herein.